as a quiet, demure, 4-year-old toddler. And she was trying as hard as she could to avoid any kind of a civilian debate. She was always a peacemaker, always a lovely child. And she said, as the kids were kind of heating up, "Don't be so ambiguous." Well, the use of a 4-syllable word by a bunch of toddlers kind of shut everything down, quieted the debate altogether, and settled everything. We realized then that Susie was not only a lovely young woman, but she was also a great debate moderator. She still is. Susie has always been such a joy for us. And we know now that not only is Susie not ambiguous, but frankly, Frank's not the most ambiguous of men.
Hear, hear.
Lovely man, generous man, yes, kind, loving, yes, but ambiguous, never. This is a match really made in heaven. So I would like to raise a toast to all of you, to the most unambiguous couples that I know, to Frank and to Susan.
That was a great speech. So the next person to be speaking is my brother Joe, who is the best man and kind of murderer. So if y'all can please come up to the floor.
As you may all know, my name is Joe. I am Frank's younger brother, as well as his best man. This is just legitimate proof that I'm Frank's favorite brother. Actually, I'm Frank's favorite sibling. Let's just make that very clear. So, for those of you who don't know much about Frank and my relationship, growing up with Frank was always an adventure. He's a hell of a guy, a hell of a role model, and he's always had my back. Well, they cut you out. Speak up! Louder! Frank and I have a unique and unbreakable bond from the day I was born, actually. He was kind of a role model to me. He's always been my guardian angel. He's always pretty much walked me through life. For those of you who don't really know much about me, I'm kind of a jerk. Here! So, I'm kind of an introvert. A little louder! And in all honesty, Frank really has brought me out of my shell growing up. So, with that unique and unbreakable bond, and having a sense of adventure as Frank does, it's always been a little risque. Especially when my dad would catch us sneaking in after curfew. Right, Dad? Okay. Well, there's one story that always sticks out in my mind from our childhood, and it's when we were very, very young. Martha, where are you? Oh, there you go. So, Frank has always had these tactics of, mischievous things. Going into my sister's room, breaking her locked diary, and just as we got to the part of her intimate relationship with Todd Lindy in the 5th grade, she busted through that door. And if it wasn't for Frank, I'd probably be dead by now. Going back to the adventure. Frank's favorite saying is, where's your sense of adventure, Joe? And for some of you who have witnessed some of the high school 2005 Super Bowl weekend, where Frank, well actually, you know, Frank's a bit of a narcoleptic. If you know Frank, he kind of falls asleep anywhere, at any time. And one day he kind of did that while driving. Super Bowl weekend 2005. Heck of an adventure. And now I'm terrified of driving with Frank. At least. But now seeing Frank and Susie on this beautiful day, and seeing my brother extremely happy is it's truly it's very, very joyous for me, especially being the younger brother. But I just want to let all the Bowman family know that Susie, you are marrying one of the most genuine, loving, trustworthy men that the great state of Texas has to offer. So honored to be here as another one of my sisters. And the note that you wrote me today is proof that I am your favorite Garza as well. But I would like for no favorite. I would like to raise our glass to Frank and Susie, and you know, I really hope that someday we can have kids around the same time together. So, cheers!
Egészségedre! Egészségedre!
Egészségedre!
That's ugly.
So Joe obviously could remember his speech from his head. I cannot, so I'm going to reference a little something. But thank you, Joe, for the introduction. Frank and I met in the fall of 2006. So we both were freshmen at Texas A&M. We had both joined the same outfit in the Corps of Cadets. Depending on who you ask, depends on what is the first memory of that time 13 years ago of our actual first interaction. Mine was during what they refer to as freshman orientation week. So it's a week before classes start. Just picture a week of boot camp where the upperclassmen taking the freshmen, they're trying to break your mold of high school and mold you all as one class and one unit. Well, we were given a shopping list, our cell phones, and the keys to our cars. We were told, go get this stuff and be back by this time. Certainly a task that was meant for failure from the word go. So we run around town in all these different cars, collecting all this stuff, and we meet back up at the parking area closest to the dorm. We're unloading, and somebody, at this time, I think there was 23 of us, somebody said, who's going to park the cars on the other side of campus? Well, there was this pause. We're all looking at each other like, you know, surely not me. You know, I'm not going to be the one that shows up late. Like, you know, we're going to. Then there was the follow-on question. Who's fast? Well, Frank and I, reluctantly, we just kind of raised our hands. So Frank and I parked the cars on the opposite side of campus. We had the cars parked, we looked at each other, we had about a mile to run and about 5 minutes to get back to the dorm. So we take off. I don't remember where, and I don't recall, on this run, but I lose Frank. I come up to the dorm area, and I stop at the corner, because I didn't have my battle buddy. I realized it. I was like, I lost Frank. I don't know what's going on. I stop, I turn around, and moments later, Frank comes around the corner with a girl riding on the handlebars of the bicycle. He pulls up next to me, and he just starts hopping off. Like, doesn't even make sure that she is feet on the ground, hands on the bicycle. He is just off the bike, and he looks at me and goes, you ready? And I was like, yeah. So So we turn and we take off sprinting. A few steps later, Frank just turns and goes, "Thanks for the ride." Needless to say, at that point in our lives, Frank and mine's definition of fast was vastly different. So I may have been the faster one in college, but Frank was the smarter one. I was on track to graduate in 4.5 years. Frank was going to graduate in 4. 1 year, we were roommates for 3 of the 4 years in college in the Corps. Frank comes in from class, all stoked, super excited, runs in and goes, "Dude, guess what?" And I'm like, before I can even respond, he's like, "I got into the graduate political science program, so I pushed my graduation date back to yours and we can commission together." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks for making me feel retarded." So we graduate and we commission together. Well, Frank and I obviously were roommates in college at the Corps Cadets. We were bunk mates at Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia. We were roommates in Honolulu, Hawaii twice. Once I stayed with him, the other time he stayed with me. And we actually slept in the same bed together in Okinawa, Japan. So Joe, I don't recall if you mentioned it, but anybody that knows Frank may be too aware of his underwear cuddling moments. You know, his adamance for "let's watch a scary movie," and he's gonna be in his underwear on the couch and cuddle up to you because it's scared, and you're gonna get kneed in the face when he flinches. You know? Susie, do not watch scary movies with Frank. But sometimes, you know, known him for 13 years, roommates for 7, underwear cuddling nights. Sometimes it was laundry day.
TMI.
Frank's last deployment when he was with Recon was now later, after the fact. I've come to find out that that's when Aunt Eva introduced the two and they started pen pals, writing emails to each other. Well, Frank and I would talk during this period, but all I would get was, "My CO is your choice of explicit verb," and "disappointments for the birds," right? So, Susie, I think you took all the creative, fun, you know, frank conversations out of me because I didn't get any of that. When he got back from deployment, I do recall Frank talking about this girl that he was dating. Whether he shared her name with me or not, I don't recall. But the first time I do recall, Frank was down here in Galveston. I was on my way to work in the morning. I gave him a call. We talked for about 10 minutes, just about whatever we would talk about. And then all of a sudden, real quick, he goes, "Dude, I'm about to drop Susie off at a job interview, so I'm going to call you back." And he hangs up. I'm like, "What in the heck?" Frank has never hung up on me like this. Well, Susie, I'm going to steal a line that Frank told me our sophomore year of college. Frank looks at me and he goes, "I only associate myself with people that make me better. So we're going to be best friends for life." He's now found someone else to apply that to. So there's the family that you're born with, and there's the family that you choose. And Susie, we all welcome you with open arms, and we're so happy.
Now on the street.
And I'd like to continue it and really just acknowledge, you know, the people that really should be here today. So let's all take a moment and may the souls of the faithful departed, in particular, enjoy everlasting happiness in heaven. Let us pray to the Lord. We really wish that Susan Elizabeth Erkey, Uncle Joe Bowman, and Uncle Adrian Paez Martinez really could be here today. And I know that they are in spirit. And we've seen it today with the sun shining down on us after a cold week. And we felt that warm embrace, and I know that they're here with us. So, anyways, all right.
There you go.
Susie, today you married a man with the same reflex to take care of others and the same urge to act foolish with a concerning amount of abandon. Really excellent job. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. We have had the hardest laughs together, mostly because you are an exceptionally hilarious human being. Your sense of humor is so pure. It's never intended with any ill will toward anyone. Everyone, when you make a joke, everyone knows they're going to be cups of humor will always serve you well. It certainly has served me well, and I know it'll serve you in your marriage well. We have also had a party surprise together. I think so. We kind of rival Kim Kardashian in the ugly cry department. We've seen it, we know it, you know, we do it in our cars by ourselves. You have helped me become the empathic person I am today. And I have just always completely followed your example in that department, and it has always served me well. Every single time. Oh, I can't even, everybody. It's overwhelming, it really is. We've performed at Disneyland together. We've exercised hungover together. We've saved a sleeping man from missing his flight in the airport together. We've laughed at each other while loopy on pain medication after various surgeries together. We've grown together. You have been the best friend to me that anyone could ever imagine having. You're really sent from some other place to deliver goodwill, good laughs, good hugs, good life. I'm so excited that Frank gets to have you as his best friend too.
And her main partner in crime, or at least first partner in crime, which Frank, I bequeath to you now. On behalf of Susie and Frank and both of our families, I just want to thank you all for being here, for coming from all over the place. From Texas, all over Texas, from California, Washington, Kansas, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and many more, including Mexico. Oh, Massachusetts, and Lagos, Nigeria. That is truly a trip of love and amazing. It's just so amazing to be here with all these people who love Susie and Frank, coming from all over the place. We have anticipated this day for a long, long time. The anticipation of your union began long before you could imagine. There are many places we could begin. This is going to be a little bit longer since everyone was short and sweet and classy. I told my big sister, I said, I think my speech is too long. She said, you're allowed to. You know, you're allowed to, so bear with me. So we could begin with your epic engagement when Frank flew in to your favorite place on earth and proposed on the bluffs of Carmel with a tribute bag of Cracker Jacks, just like my dad did for my mom, while several of our nieces and nephews crowded around excitedly hoping for some Cracker Jacks when Uncle Frank was done with his grand gesture. Or we could begin with your first date, when you met for the first time in person and drove all around San Francisco telling each other completely fabricated stories about landmarks around the city. This weird fact alone should tell us you were made for each other. Or we could begin back when the idea of you two as an item was just a little hopeful seed in the minds of my beloved coworker and Frank's beloved godmother, Aunt Eva. But going all the way back to even the budding pen pal emails when Frank was serving our country as a Marine, even that isn't far back enough. Because, Susie, from your side, we have been anticipating this day for your whole life. And by we, I mean your parents and 8 older siblings. The thing is, Susie may not have gotten a lot of airtime. You may not have gotten a lot of new non-hand-me-down clothing, or even a lot of dessert by the time the dish got to you. But there are a couple major things you did get, which I want to highlight. You did get an army of protection. You did get a clan with enough love for you to move mountains. And when you did get an award edgewise, you also got an immense amount of our respect. And when you add up the equation of our protection, respect, and love, the result is a deep, deep wish, a profound prayer in each of our hearts, that you find your heart's calling, your vocation, and you have found him. So we have been anticipating you for a long time, Frank. But Susie has done an amazing thing. She has taken these things that she's received from us and multiplied them 1,000-fold, embodying this protectiveness, this love, and this respect, and scattering these gifts freely and generously to hundreds and hundreds of lucky people who have come into her life. Frank, I know you love Susie for so many reasons, but I want to tell you a few stories that have to do with these gifts that Susie has and that she's going to share with you. Protection. Sweet baby Susan, the youngest of 9, despite Susie's incredible strength, we have desired to protect her, because what better job can a sibling have than to keep safe a precious, unique jewel? She is our pride and joy, and it is an incredible moment to stand before the one who will take over that job. To be honest, I don't know how you're going to follow me up as her #1 bulldog. I mean, I can't really think of a better visual representation of a fierce, intimidating protectress than a 7-month pregnant woman in a dress and high heels. But I trust you'll find a way. You seem like you've done a little bit of training in a protector role. I just want to give you a quick example of Susie's protection for me. When I was a teenager, I also was not an narcoleptic, but I had just gotten my license, and I get the gas and the brake confused. It's really confusing. They're right next to each other. And I had Susie and my sister Katie in the car, and I totaled our car. And Susie's spine just went off kilter. Nearly missed her nerve. We were anticipating a lot of damage, and Susie had to go through several procedures and tons of physical therapy and a huge surgery, and she had clamps going up and down her spine and had a rod put in, which she later had to have removed. This was over 10 years ago, and I have never once heard Susie talk about her back pain. I learned about it from my other siblings who are not as good at keeping it from me, but I never once heard her say a word to me, because she already knew how badly I felt. She was protecting me. And she'll do this for you. She won't keep things from you, but she will protect you. So it was no wonder when I chose her as my non-trained doula to help bring my daughter into the world, because I knew she would fight for me in that delivery room, and she did. The second is respect. Despite Susie being the youngest of 9, she has established a strong and beautiful voice and identity for herself. This self-respect is rooted not in any kind of narcissism, but instead in the knowledge of her profound worth and divine affiliation. Her knowledge of this value blesses those around her because she respects them in turn for the same reason. And she will do this most of all with you, Frank, and what she says to you and how she values you as her life partner. The final gift is love. Susie is a teacher and a lifetime student of love. It is one of the things that I love most about her. and one of the things that will bless your marriage forever. After my mom died, Susie, her namesake, who was 12 at the time of our mom's death, went on an incredibly difficult journey, navigating all kinds of things you don't want to imagine a preteen having to deal with without her mother. The special, different thing about Susie, though, is that she did it with a remarkable, open-hearted tenderness, where many, no one I would know, none of my 8 siblings or me, where many would close up and ignore their emotions, try to ignore what hurts, hoping it will magically disappear. Susie dove in. She felt. She challenged herself with her new reality. She faced her grief and all of the struggles that came with it. And I have only scratched the surface in beginning to understand her wisdom in this decision. All of us siblings have tried to be strong for one another, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say that it was Susie who taught us that the greatest strength comes with deep, deep tenderness and gut-wrenching open-heartedness. Susie taught us how to hug. We didn't know how. We used to do that awkward, short, hey, how you doing, side hug that you really wanted to be over. And Susie called us out. She hugged for real. She hugged longer. She actually, no joke, coached us on hugging. No, she said, don't pat my back, that makes it lame. Don't pull away, we're not finished. Okay, just let it happen. Okay, great, now hug me back. She has done this many times, but I remember the first time she did it to me and I was so annoyed. And then I cried while I lay limp in her arms and let her hug me. I have often wondered where Susie pulls this kind of grace from. Even though she had the shortest amount of time with my mom, Susie absorbed so much from her about how to love. But it's not just in the genes. Susie is an old, prayerful soul. She learned how to love by her relationship with the source of all love. You can bet that she has prayed for each and every one of you here today by name. She prays while she runs, she prays while she eats, she prays while she cleans and works. She prays her heart out in worry and love for her sweet little students and her family. She's actually kind of a novena addict. In fact, on the way here, we were in the car and we're all getting pumped and we're like, okay, what music should we put in? And Susie was all, in it. And she said, actually, is it okay if we just say a decade of the rosary? Right before her wedding. Most of all, Frank, she prays for you. And she will love you well. I know you will do the same. And I have one favorite ask of you on behalf of me and all my siblings. Please get her back for the hugs. Hug her often. Hug her tight. Hug her when she doesn't want to be hugged. I can tell you that little action can move a whole heart, and no one deserves it more. A wise person recently quoted Katharine Hepburn's biography to me. She said, love is all about giving your whole self to another person. It has nothing to do with what they do for you. I know the two of you already love each other in this way, and I'm so excited for the ways in which you get to discover how to love each other better each day. So to Susie and Frank, please raise your glasses. Mine's empty. Good reasons. Cheers.
Somebody's on my